The Miz, Kid Wilson versus Denhausen. And John Cena retired in December. He lost to Gunther. He tapped out for the first time in over 20 years. The crowd lost their mind, and just like that, after 23 years, John Cena was done. That was 5 months ago. 5 months! And in those 5 months, TKO has already brought him back to host WrestleMania 42, and now it's being advertised for Backlash, which is happening 3 weeks after WrestleMania. 3 weeks. The man retired in December. He already hosted WrestleMania in April, and now Backlash in May. So I have to ask a question that I do not think TKO wants us to ask. They actually respect this man's retirement, or did they sign him to a 5-year ambassador deal specifically so that they can keep pulling him out whenever the shows need a boost? Because from where I'm sitting, that is exactly what is happening. And I think that's a problem. Not just for John Cena, but for every single superstar on the current roster, and for every single fan who spends money on this product. Before I go in all of this, I want to make sure everyone watching this fully understands the picture. John Cena spends all of 2025 on his retirement tour. 36 days, matches across the country, emotional moments. He turned heel for the first time in over 20 years. He won his 17th world title at WrestleMania 41. He had big matches with Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles, and Cody Rhodes. He did the whole thing. And then on December 13th, he had his final match against Gunther. He tapped out, he retired, the retirement tour was over. That was it. That was the end. Now look, I knew he was not going to completely disappear. He signed a 5-year ambassador deal with WWE. That was announced right before his retirement match. So everyone knew he was going to pop up from time to time. That is fine. That is expected. Nobody actually thought we would never see John Cena again. But here's what I didn't expect. I did not expect TKO to have him back on television 4 months after he retired. I didn't expect him to be hosting WrestleMania 42 in April, the very first WrestleMania after his retirement. And I definitely did not expect him to already be advertised for Backlash, which is 3 weeks after WrestleMania. That is not how you treat a retired legend. That is how you treat a tool. Let me start with WrestleMania because I think this is where this whole thing began to feel wrong to me. John Cena retired in December 2025. 4 months after retirement, he's already the host of WrestleMania. Now I understand the logic from TKO's side. He is still the biggest name they have. He gets the biggest reactions. Having him host WrestleMania makes the show feel a bit bigger. I get that, but here's my issue with it. John Cena just spent an entire year saying goodbye. 36 days, emotional moments in a city. 36 dates, emotional moments in city after city. He gave everyone a proper farewell, and then they had his final match. And it was supposed to be done. It should have meant something. When you see someone for the last time and say goodbye, and then they show up the next big event 4 months later, the goodbye loses its weight. The finality is gone. It starts to feel like the whole retirement was just a story WWE is telling, not something real. And fans felt that at WrestleMania. People were happy to see him. I was extremely happy to see him. It's John Cena, my favorite wrestler of all time. But there was also a feeling underneath all of it. Wait, did he actually retire there? Is this really what an ambassador looks like? Because an ambassador should feel special. An ambassador like John Cena showing up feels like an occasion, not like the opening act for a show that needed a familiar face. Okay, WrestleMania, I could almost understand. It's the biggest show of the year. If you are going to bring back the retired legend for anything, WrestleMania makes a certain kind of sense. But Backlash? Backlash is 3 weeks after WrestleMania. 3 weeks after he just hosted the biggest event. TK already wants him back. And this is the part where I stop being understanding and start being frustrated. Because it is not about honoring a legend anymore. It's about business, pure and simple. Backlash is historically one of the hardest shows for WrestleMania to sell. It comes right after WrestleMania season. The big matches have already happened. The crowds are still processing everything they just saw. Ticket sales and viewership dip. This is just a reality of the WWE calendar. And what does TKO do when a show is hard to sell? They call John Cena. This is the whole strategy. This is it. The name on the advertisement moves the whole tickets. His appearance drives social media conversations. People who were not planning to watch suddenly tune in. And I want you to really think about what that means. It means TKO looked at their Backlash card, looked at all the talented people they employ, and decided that none of it was enough to sell the show on its own. So they went and got a retired 49-year-old man to come and do it for them. That is not how a healthy product operates. And this is the part I think people need to talk about more honestly. WWE right now has incredible talent on its roster. Gunther, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, CM Punk. I could keep going. The talent is there. But the product, the storytelling, the reason to care, the build going to events has not been good enough to make people feel like they have to watch. And when your product is not creating massive moments on its own, when your current stars are not being booked in ways that make fans feel like they cannot miss the next show, you have a problem. Putting celebrities in every single thing. And the way TKO is choosing to deal with that problem is not by fixing the product. And the fans are stupid. We are not stupid. We can feel when something is being pushed down our throats because a company needs it rather than because it's genuinely exciting. They can feel the difference between a surprise appearance that means something and a retired ambassador being wheeled out to sell tickets. What does it say about Cody Rhodes, about Seth Rollins, about every person in the locker room who works 52 weeks a year to make the company worth watching? The message that TKO says every time they call Cena back is the same message every single time. The message is, our people cannot sell this show. We need someone else. And that is genuinely disrespectful for people who have earned better than that, who don't even get spots to actually prove themselves in the main card, and that's just reserved for celebrities. Either the current roster can carry the product, or it cannot. Right now, TKO is answering both of those questions in a very bad way. But let me flip this around for a second, because this is not just about the wrestlers. The fans are spending their money on this product. They buy tickets, they subscribe to Netflix and ESPN, they buy merchandise, they invest in their time and emotion into those stories. And what TKO is saying those fans by putting John Cena at every show right after his retirement is this: we know that what we have is not enough to get you excited on its own. So here's John Cena. Now give us money. Also, we've been cutting people, so let's forget about that. Let's put John Cena a little bit. That is the whole thing. That is the entire message. And I think there is a slap in the face for every fan who wants to invest in the people actually competing in the show. Because when you buy a Backlash ticket, you should be buying it because you're excited to see if Jacob Fatu is going to beat Roman Reigns. You should be buying it because the story is being told makes you feel like you have to be there. As an ambassador got advertised and you thought, well, I guess I will go see now. This is not how you build a healthy fan base. And they need to be the healthy fan base right now because that now TKO is not doing well. Now, I always want to give the other side a space, so let me do that. Maybe this is the part of the ambassador role and Cena genuinely wants to be out there. He said himself that it took 3 years to plan the retirement. He clearly loves the business. Maybe showing up at WrestleMania and Backlash as an ambassador is exactly what he signed up for. And you could argue that his appearance at Backlash might not even be a big in-ring thing. Denhauser. The rumors right now suggest it could be something small, a segment, an announcement, something tied to his club, WWE. Maybe not just a big thing as it sounds. Denhauser. I hear both of those things. I hear. But here is where I keep landing. Whether Cena is happy with this or not, TKO is still the one making the decision to put him on shows. Because those shows need a boost. That is still a business decision being made. And a company that needs a retired legend to sell shows 2 months in a row, that is still a company with a product problem. One that no amount of John Cena appearances is going to fix. Let me bring it all together. John Cena to me is the greatest wrestler of all time. His career was legendary. Nobody is taking any of that away from him. But the man retired in December, man. It is May. He's already been at WrestleMania and is now advertised for Backlash. 5 months is his retirement, and TKO is already treating him like a recurring feature on the schedule, like a puppet. This is not about John Cena wanting to show up. This is about TKO having a product that cannot sell itself and using a retired legend as the fix. In the meantime, while all of this is happening, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Gunther, Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre, and everyone else is busting their backs every single week, are getting the message loud and clear. We are not enough one who's already retired to sell the show. And it is a terrible message to send to your talent. This is a terrible message to send to your fans. And if TKO keeps going down this road, keeps putting Cena out of every time the numbers need a boost, at some point the appearances will mean nothing at all. And then what do you get? You cannot keep spending something without eventually running out of it. John Cena gave this business everything. He spent 22 years making WWE worth watching. He gave fans a whole year to say goodbye, and he went out on his own terms. On his back, tapping out to Gunther in front of thousands of people who loved him. That was beautiful. That was the right ending. But 5 months later, he's already back. And 3 weeks after that, he might be back again. And the question I keep asking myself is this: if TKO cannot sell their show without a retired 49-year-old ambassador, what did they tell you about the states of the products he left behind? As always,